Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the stock market update video, and we have a lot to talk about with sentiments being this bearish, as well as we have most of the big tech stock earnings report this week, as well as the fear and greed index currently at 26. Is the market going to be bouncing soon or not? So we're going to take a look at technical analysis, as well as some of the economic data. So we're looking at QQQ, S&P 500, Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Meta. So we'll see if they're bouncing support level zones or not to potentially be bouncing tomorrow or on Monday, or are we going to get more downsides? So, as you guys know, I've been traveling lately and I'm currently in Taiwan. So I'll probably be doing a little bit less videos for the next 2 weeks, just letting you guys know. But I also did the commodities video just before this one. So if you guys want to check out the commodities video, I just uploaded that one. And let's get started with the stock market. So currently we are getting back close to extreme fear, as well as the sentiment data for this week just coming in today at 43.2% bearish. So we are slightly coming back to the October 4th levels. You can see it's very close, a little bit more bearish than October 4th. And that's when we had this big bounce over here right around there, where we consolidated and had a decent bounce. So we will see if we get a bounce again. And currently, rate hikes are surprisingly still the same. So we have a rate hike priced in. Sorry, not rate hike, rate hold priced in for the entire year, all the way till May 1st. So this has been the same since we've been looking at this every week. And my surprise is that GDP data came in today a lot hotter than expected. So we were looking at 4.3% for the Q3 GDP, and we got 4.9%. And based on the prior sentiments, where when we get a hot data, meaning that the economic data is better, we usually get a sell-off, which we did get a sell-off, but we also get an increase in the probability of a rate hike or hold when it happens. But this week, it didn't happen. So when we got that GDP come in, this was actually higher. We had a higher at June. We had a rate probably of a rate hold again. I think it was just last couple of days ago, and then it shifted to 40% on a rate cut. So that is a interesting shift where we might start to see good data. Just might be good data because nobody really wants a recession, but people are market participants are afraid that if we continue to get good data, we'll get more rate hikes. But it's starting to show that the Fed may just be done. So we will have to see tomorrow. We're going to be getting PCE data, which is inflation data. So if this continues to come in lower, then the chances of us getting another, longer than longer hike, higher for longer, is probably going to be a lot less likely. And we'll see. Maybe if we get a really good solid PCE data, this may start to shift for the cut. Right, we may see this go to 35%, and this could come down to like 42% or something like that. So we'll see tomorrow, and we may get a potential rally because if inflation continues to come down while economic data continues to be good, then maybe we actually might get a soft landing. So we'll see about that later this year if the data continues to be like this way, and maybe market participants will start to think be less fearful of getting rug pulled by the Fed and decides to start to participate in the market more because there is a lot of money in the sidelines at the moment still. So, all right, let's take a look at the charts. So QQ pretty much broke most of its resistance. Most of its supports. So you can see we had an uptrending support right here on this one, right? All the way back this whole year. We flushed through that on last Friday. We bounced and back tested it. So you can see on on Tuesday, we touched it again, back tested it, became used to act as support, and now it's become resistance. That was a sign where if we back tested and reject from it, we're very likely getting another leg down, which is what happened for the next 2 days. Another leg down, also broke this falling wedge support. This is the falling wedge. You can see quadruple rejection from the top, triple bottom bounced, and on Wednesday we broke through that. So are we going to bounce from here or not? Because we actually broke below this level as well. And the question is, Take a look at mega cap later, see how most of them are sitting at supports. So that's give us more clues if we're gonna get a bounce or not. So the first thing I want to see is an hourly uptrend. So we are on the verge of confirming a first hourly uptrend. And you guys know that I talk about just follow the trend. So if we can't even confirm an hourly uptrend, the market's not going to go anywhere. And we did confirm one over here. So that's why we got that 2-day bounce. Now I want to see us confirming a clear one as well. So let's zoom in here. So we had a big enough bounce over here that finally we can give bulls enough room to confirm an hourly uptrend. Because if it's just a shallow bounce, right, like this one over here, when we drop, there's no room left for a trend to change. So we pretty much set the hourly higher low, meaning this low pivot is higher than this low. So now we need to make a higher high. So we need to be higher than this high. For us to come from an hourly uptrend. So that's going to be a burden on the bulls tomorrow. If they cannot do that, we're like, this would just be another daily bear flag. And we're probably going to roll over as well. Because hourly uptrend is the very first step for the markets. Yeah, so if we can't even do that tomorrow with a stellar Amazon earnings and the whole market is currently bouncing at the after hours, then the market is very, very weak. So my expectation for tomorrow is we need to break above 346, which is, you can see, acted as support in pre-market, and now it acted as resistance on this big drop here. So tomorrow, break above that resistance and confirm the hourly uptrend at the same time, breaking above 347, which is this candle's high. This is the initial pivot high, right? So then we get an hourly uptrend. Then we may probably get more bounces on the daily charts, but that would take us into next week, right? So one step at a time. And yeah, so first step I want to see hourly uptrend, as well as the sentiment is very bearish at the moment, so we might get a little shift into the potential end of the months here. All right, let's take a look at SPY. So we still have Apple to report on next week on the 2nd, November 2nd. So we already had Meta reporting decent earnings, but they missed on. So they didn't miss. They had an earnings call, and they said that their ad revenue is being affected already by the current macro environment going on around the world at the moment, and it just tanked after hours. So hence we got that red day today, but I'll talk more about Meta in a second once we get there to Meta. Let's take a look at SPY. So SPY, same thing. Big enough hourly bounce. And I want to see an hourly trend change. So big enough bounce here, even though we had a huge drop, we still had room to make a higher low. So now I want to see us break above 415.93 for an hourly uptrend to confirm the first time since this last 2-day drop. We didn't even confirm an hourly uptrend here. We did slightly. You can see we made a higher high, higher than this one, black follow through. Same thing, higher high here, black follow through, and then we rolled over. But yeah, it's a very, very not convincing trend change. All right, and then we take a look at SPY on the daily chart to see if it's coming to support. So we sold off quite a bit already. Let's see. So 10%, we pretty much at a correction territory. It's normal to have correction every year. Yeah, they usually have it a couple times, once or twice a year. So 10% drops are nothing to really be that concerned about. But we are coming into a level of support, cluster of support actually. You see the amount of volume traded in this zone. Before this entire breakout, we were currently in the zone acting as strong resistance. Strong resistance everywhere in the zone, right? So currently we're coming back down to that level, so it should act as support. And we want to see. So tomorrow when we open, we're probably going to open above 414. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. So currently we're trading at 414.7. So we're likely opening around this level. So yeah, so that's a good sign. Because if we continue to bounce, then this is a good sign that this level cluster of support zones, it's acting as a good support zone. Which is, if this thing slices through this, then I'm gonna say we're probably gonna get a big crash, and not like a kind of crash that we go all the way down here or anything. But if we just come down here, and after a 6% drop and just slice through a strong level of support, while the earnings are coming in decently, not like anything too bad, right? And that's a huge red flag that something is going behind the scenes that none of us know, right? So at the moment we don't have that, so not going to worry about something that we don't even know. But I really do want to see us bounce above the zone and have a stronger bounce here for us to potentially have a longer term bounce bottom here, because really SPY goes down lower, we're coming back down to this 2022 structure that we don't want to revisit after breaking out of it. Below is starting. If we do break below this zone, we're going to start looking more like a monthly equilibrium tightening up, which would be very annoying for anyone, because it would just kind of like look like that on the monthly time frame, and nobody wants that, because you just go sideways and forever. Because every candle takes a month to form, right? So it will take us probably, if we just continue tied up like that, it'll take us into end of next year, or even longer, just depending how long it wants to tighten up. So, all right, let's take a look at Tesla here. So after Tesla's earnings, we were talking about it showing no signs of bounces, because currently still forming a daily bear flag because of such a shallow bounce. But it doesn't make sense that we had a 2-day drop as well, because QQ rolled over. But the thing is that we did slightly outperform the market, because the market, you can see over here, made a new low, lower than this prior pivot low, but Tesla didn't. Tesla has a chance, if the market starts bouncing tomorrow, to form a daily uptrend back to its favor, because this pivot now set is being higher than this prior pivot. So if we can break above 222.05, which is this pivot, then we get a daily uptrend confirm. So zoom in, and because we are coming back to this structure, you guys can see this prior resistance. It's not going to act as support. In the similar look to SPY, where it's coming back to this lower structure of its high, where it was prior resistance, we definitely want to see that as support. Otherwise, it's not really going to go anywhere. So, all right, let's take a look here. On the hourly charts, Tesla has not confirmed an hourly uptrend at the moment. And it's pretty much a step one, because it made a new low here after hours. And so there's a big enough bounce now. So let's see if we can confirm an hourly uptrend. If it does, and it's a good sign that that pivot is being set higher than this one, and we may potentially the daily trend change. But right now, it's still no signs of that yet. Absolutely zero signs of that. Still currently in full bear control. But since QQQ is due for a bounce, we will have to see how Tesla bounces when QQ bounces at the same time. And we'll see if it can become relative strength or not later. All right, that's Nvidia head and shoulders pretty much played out. I was talking about this head and shoulders before it even started dropping, before this even started dropping. I was talking about it, I think, over here. Right, it was looking like the 2-day, it's more clear. When we were bouncing over here, I was saying that we could potentially get a head and shoulders, very likely here. And we did. So we pretty much got down to the neckline, broke through it slightly, but as long as we don't break below and close below 400, I think the bulls will bounce. But if we close candle below the 400s, then we're probably going to come down to test this earnings reactions low right there. And if we break that low, we're going to fill this gap. So currently, if the market bounces tomorrow, then this would be slightly saved, but we still need to confirm a daily uptrend here for me to be more confident, because you can see we're still rejecting from the 12 EMA, which is a teal looking line. So it's still a little bit iffy, even if we bounce here. Even if we get a bounce one day here, it doesn't change this head and shoulders pattern or the outlook of it, because we're still in a daily bear flag, unless it's a really solid bounce. where we break above this 420 and we break above this 12 yen at the same time, this tail looking line. And we're probably going to negate that head and shoulders. But at the moment, we'll have to see how strong that bounces. And it's good for the bulls that they close above 400 today. But we're still in, bears are still in striking distance to break this tomorrow. So look, hourly, same thing. Hourly just about to confirm it. Wait, it just did confirm it, earlier uptrend. But I want to see a clear break above it, above this high, which is the 409, which is call it 410. You can see the trend here. Pivot being set. Now we just need this to head higher than that for an hourly uptrend to confirm. That's that daily bounce going. See if we can close above 420 tomorrow. All right, let's take a look at Apple. So Apple broke this uptrending support on Thursday, and we pretty much just rolled over from there. We're in a falling wedge pattern. This is a resistance. This is a support. So pretty much we bounced exactly off of that falling wedge support today. And I want to see us bounce back above 173. Eventually retest. We're probably going to retest this prior support, now acting as resistance, before we test the falling wedge resistance. Hourly charts. Apple's actually quite weak today. So after hours, it dropped to a lower low. Now, hourly chart is in step one, so we just have a big enough bounce. We don't have a pivot being set yet, so we need a pivot being set before it heads higher. So Apple is actually relatively weak compared to, this is a hourly bear flag confirming lacking follow through and then bounce. So that's a slightly a good sign and check for the bulls, but we need to actually get some kind of bounce going before anything can happen. All right, take a look at, and it's obviously reporting its earnings next week, and due to the sentiment of how everyone was rolling over on their earnings, so maybe that's why probably why Apple sold off as well. But Amazon definitely saved the day, and because you guys can see, so Amazon pretty much beat earnings very, very good, and we had a bullish reaction, hit resistance, sold off. It's like where probably everyone was afraid of Meta from the prior day, because that's how Meta sold off as well. Meta had a stellar, decent earnings, and it was green as well. And after his earnings call, it just kind of rolled over and made it even a lower low. So that's what I was thinking, that everyone was afraid of Amazon doing the same thing. So they took profits until the earnings call, where they were talking about how their AWS cloud and everything is not accelerating, more so like if they're doing very well and they're very confident in it. And we got this V shape back to the highs of move, which I do agree with the move. I mean, they had a exceptional earnings, so this move is not too out of the norm. So let's take a look to see what Amazon needs to do now. So Amazon now has, because we made a lower low here, that this is not an hourly uptrend. So we have a big enough bounce now. Very likely that this will confirm an hourly uptrend tomorrow. We are pretty much testing this prior resistance, this maroon looking line, which is prior support. Right? You can see right support, 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 bounce off of it pretty much 5 times. When we come up to it, it's going to act as resistance. That's where pretty much we rejected from the initial high as well for the earnings high. So it was slightly technical, plus people want to take profits due to the fear of every earnings is dropping regardless if it's a beat or not. And maybe we're back testing again, so that's a good sign. So as long as we break above this resistance tomorrow, then we get a good chance of Amazon coming back up to test 127. But this mirror looking one is definitely the key one first before we can get above it. Yeah, it's looking more of a little bit of a falling wedge, but not as much. Yeah, good thing Amazon saved the market, but we still have Apple to go, so we'll see how Apple reports. Also, Intel reported really well as well. So Intel helped the semiconductor sector bounce. So semiconductor sector is. All right, let's take a look at Google. So Google also has earnings report as well, so you guys can see why people were afraid of Amazon potentially dropping as well after reporting good earnings. Google reported beating earnings as well, but it just missed slightly on its cloud. And because cloud is the growth part of Google, Microsoft, and Amazon, most participants and analysts wants to see that growth part of these businesses grow instead of missing, right? Even though they beat on the other parts, because they missed just on the cloud, they rolled over. And you can see Microsoft didn't. Microsoft beat on the cloud, so hence it was green after hours during its markets that day. So let's take a look at see where Google is now going to be trading. So pretty much came back to this zone. We broke through this sideways zone right after that earnings, but now we're back into the zone. And we bounce off of the support of this level because this was the prior chop zone. And you can see the amount of times we bounced off of that zone and the amount of time we rejected from that zone at this 1 to 1 level is level. So let's zoom in, see what it looked like when we traded at that level. So at that 1 to 1 level, you can see the amount of times in the hourly charts where we tested it today. So that's about 5 times. This is still an hourly 4-hour bear flag at this given moment. And the first step I wanted to see was us to break above this teal looking line on the hourly charts, which is a 12 EMA. You can see the amount of times we rejected from that while we're trending downwards. And you can see first time we break above it, you can see we get a move, and now it's acting as support because it flipped around. You guys know I always talk about support, but it isn't flipping around. And it's a good sign. We broke above that after hours. So now I want to see us get more follow through. Confirm an hourly uptrend here, just like every other big tech stocks. The hourly uptrend from me more confidence that that is the bottom of this drop. And because Google also made a new low, hourly downtrend confirming here, lacking follow through because the new lower in this pivot. Bounce from there, V shape, good sign. And I see we may get follow through from the bulls here. And you can see 121 is a clear level of support. And currently still in a 4-hour bull bear flag still. So we don't want to get our hopes up until I see that hourly uptrend confirming from the bulls. We are very oversold. So if I were to bet on this, I know we're still in an hourly 4-hour bear flag. If I were to bet on this, I would definitely go long. Because what are you risking, right? You go long here, set your stop loss over here. You're risking nothing, pretty much. So you're getting in the highs of this candle right now, right? You're risking close to within 2%. And your reward be at least 3% is my initial target. It's not that great of a risk reward, but they're just saying if I were to bet on this, but I wouldn't be playing Google myself at the moment. But yeah, so that's just the initial bounce reward. But if you were to hold it for longer, there's a good chance we can potentially come up to this. So 131 level. But at the moment, we know that 121 is a strong level of support because we saw it tested 5 times today and holding it. And because we are so oversold, the chances of us bouncing is very, very, very likely. Probably tomorrow or Monday. And the very first step that we're going to come up is, guess what? To test the top of this structure. Because now we just bounce off of the bottom of the structure at 121. Most likely scenario for us to go to is for buyers to test the top of this structure. Right. So we're going to first come up to 126 and then 127. All right. Let's take a look at Microsoft. So Microsoft had a bullish earnings reaction on Tuesday, and then because the market rolled over for 2 days, Microsoft itself couldn't hold that well as well. So we'll see. Zoom into the hourly charts to see what happened. So we pretty much hit. You see that blue line is the pretty much the last box resistance of Microsoft at 250. Because if we zoom back, see this 350 right there, and we made a head and shoulders here at 350 as well. Even though we got over it, we pretty much came straight below it right afterwards. So that is the pretty much the last pause zone. You can see all these upper wicks here as well. All these upper wicks showing on the daily charts. If we go to the daily, it's a huge upper wick, right? At this level. So we did hit that level in after hours in the earnings reaction, and then rejected back into this downtrending resistance into this tiny range again. So essentially, I guess we're just continuing to tighten up. But let's take a look to see if there's any signs of bounces yet. So Microsoft also hit a new low right there after hours, confirming a hourly downtrend, locking follow through. Now bounce back above this pivot. So now we're back in a neutral trend actually. So Microsoft is a little bit ahead of other other peers, currently in a neutral trend because we broke above this pivot, downtrending pivot. But we're not still in an uptrend yet. We need to set a new pivot and break above that high for us to have an hourly uptrend back to the bulls. And if we do break that, we're coming back up to 335 for sure. You can see the level of resistance. 335 is a level that I'll be looking at when we get that bounce going. If we do break rollover tomorrow, I'm looking at 325 first before for supports. But my guess, it was probably bounce tomorrow as well. Even though Microsoft is nowhere near oversold, but because of its earnings and market likely bouncing, it will probably bounce with it. All right, let's take a look at Meta. So Meta is just one of those charts where it's a lot of going on. You can see. So, all right, so that's one step at a time. So I'll show you guys this uptrending megaphone. What's the resistance? Very clear. See, we had like 10 rejections over here, and this was the uptrending support that we bounced off of it close to about 6 times. When that broke on Wednesday, and with this earnings reaction at the same time, we pretty much broke through the supports. But we also have a megaphone looking support down here. See this one right here? Uptrending resistance, megaphone support at the bottom. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Exactly at the same spot. So where do we go from here? If we bounce tomorrow, we're probably going to come up to test this downtrending resistance line where we broke out of it here. You see that big green candle breaking out of this downtrending resistance line when we couldn't get over it 6 times. That level for tomorrow's candle would be coinciding with the 298 level. Look at the hourly chart to see where we're at currently after the bounce. We are at 291. So Meta is slightly bouncing a little bit weaker because if it didn't drop. Let's see. It's actually forming a inverse head and shoulders look here on the hourly. 4 hour. So this looks like a 4 hour bear flag, confirming lacking follow through, bounce back above, and very indecision candle here. Of course, you can see where the top and the bottom is. That's a 6% range. So yeah, so you can see we also pretty much tested that 298 where I talked about its downtrending resistance right here. Right, so we did test that today, and in the morning, due to market being so weak, it obviously rolled over to test this other side of the support. So now we tested the support and bounced off of that. Guess what? We're going to come back up to test this resistance again tomorrow, where I'll be looking at that 298 zone. And if we do break 298, obviously we all know 300 is going to be that resistance, psychological one, to break above after that. So yeah. so far is in an hourly uptrend. See, because of this huge drop here, and setting the higher low here. See that pivot's higher than prior low. It actually depends on which candle you use. If you want to use this pivot, we're not in an hourly uptrend yet. But if you use different pivot, then we're not. Yeah. So we need to get over at least 293 for us to have an hourly uptrend to confirm. So if we break 293 tomorrow, very first step, 293, and then it's 298 resistance is going to be the boss of the resistance here. That's got it for you guys. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Feel free to comment below, as well as feel free to like, share, and subscribe. You guys made it this far. And feel free to join the Discord link chat room. It's all free. You guys can come just chill, talk about stocks, talk about whatever you guys want. And yeah, we talk about data and all that kind of stuff and what's going on in the markets. Yeah, just feel free to come hang out. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I will update you guys probably over the weekend as well, depending on if I'm busy or not. And have a great rest of you guys' week. See you guys later.